Hi, everybody. I'm Bill Sanders, and this is Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection. Today, we're going to take a look at Abdul's what I call the Explorers collection. The reason I call it the Explorers collection is because Abdul has so many watches I've never seen any other place. In other words, he's a real watch collecting explorer. And not to push the analogy too far, but the first watch I'd like to take a look at in Abdul's collection is a Rolex Explorer II Polar 16570. This watch is of the Explorer 2s is the one I like because I like the Polar uh, dial on it because it's easier for me to read. And the red arm on the arrowhead for the second time zone, I like that too. So uh, this is a watch I like. Now I know some people don't like the big magnifier over the date, but I do. I mean, I know those little bitty ones you can't see. And so what do they call it? The Cyclops, I think. What a name. Anyway, so this is the first one of Abdul's Explorer collection is Rolex Explorer II. Okay, so here we go. One of the first ones is a very interesting looking Hamilton vintage from the 70s. And it's I don't know, it would be what I would call a cocktail hour watch. Very formal, with a long rectangular shape to it. It's a neat watch. I like that a lot. Next to it is Certina, which is also from the 1960s. And this has a case, something that is reminiscent of a Seiko turtle with the way it goes around like that. This is another watch I really had never heard of before. Well, I'd heard of it, but I didn't know much. I hadn't seen them, and it wasn't locked into my mind. Now, these next two are even more interesting. One is an unmarked Art Deco. There's no brand name on it. It has these extremely interesting hands and the style of the numbers around this very square shaped watch. Really a fascinating, interesting looking watch. Also, look at the on the lugs how they look like ball bearings almost. What an unusual watch. This is, again, the kind of thing don't worry about the brand or anything else. Go out and find an interesting watch. And he's certainly found one here. Now, the next one on the right is a Red Star Solo. Now, this is a one-handed watch. And I've never seen one of these. I've seen one-handed watches, but not a Red Star Solo. So this is again, like I said, this is sort of very much of an explorer's collection. All right, these next two watches, one is a Butcher chronometer. Now, this is an officially certified chronometer, not just any chronometer, which means that it had to go through COSC in order to have the officially certified chronometer name on it. That's what you're supposed to do anyway. And again, this is another very handsome dress watch. Now, next to it is a Timex quartz. It has a rotating bezel. It's a day date at 3 o'clock with a red day and a black date on it. And it's a quartz watch. And what can you say? Those things, once you deal with a quartz watch, you can do anything with those things. These next two, one is simply amazing to me, and the other one is, a lot of people have very, very fancy collection, but they'll have a G-Shock. A G-Shock. These things are, a friend of mine who's working overseas was telling me about his G-Shock. You could take that thing anywhere. Two things: one, probably someone's not going to try to steal it, and two, nothing's going to happen to it. It'll be in there taking a licking and keep on ticking, as they say. Now the one next to it is totally fascinating. It's called, he's got it labeled as an unmarked jumping hours, flying minutes, and seconds. And I'm not sure how you tell time with it, but what an interesting challenge. There's at 9 o'clock, where the 8 is, there's some kind of stick coming out. But boy, this looks like a fun, incredibly fun watch to have. And like I said, you start, you sort of unhook yourself from all of the conventional kinds of wisdom that we like to talk about as watch collectors. And man, I tell you, you end up with, become a free range chicken and go out and find all these wonderful different watches. Now, these final two are interesting in two different ways. First of all, the Bergana vintage 1960s. I was looking at that dial and I thought, my God, this is I think it's Glashütte Original have one called the 1966. It looks a lot like 1966. This is, from 66. The dial's not the same, but look at the 2 on that 12 and the rest of the whole design of it, and the little sort of what they call a crosshairs, small seconds dial that they have on that watch. Now, right under Bergana, I don't know if you can see it or not, it says Enkelblock, which is simply the shock absorber, which at the time may have been brand new. It probably was. Now, next to it is one of my favorite watches because it's a Seiko 5. I have a Seiko 5, and I love my Seiko 5, and it's sort of like, it's one of those watches I can just do stuff with. It's an automatic, has the day and the date. I think it's one of the few watches I have with both day and date. But I really great. Now this one has Eastern Arabic numbers, whereas most other of my watches have Arabic, and some of them have Roman. But this is Eastern Arabic, and it's I find these really very interesting. I had read somewhere about how they came up with the shapes of the numbers, and it's really fascinating. This one it's an automatic. Well, I mean, they're all automatics, I guess, with Seiko 5s. The thing I like about Seiko 5, there were so many innovations that they had when it came out. Innovations for Seiko watches. They piled a whole bunch of them right on the Seiko 5. All kinds of things in there. Love that watch. And again, it's different. It's not something, it's different in that it has the Eastern Arabic numbers. Actually, I don't have a watch with Eastern Arabic numbers. I've got Roman and I've got Arabic, but not Eastern Arabic. That'd be sort of a cool watch to have too, to have something like that. Okay, now here, it's like, what do you recommend for a collection like this that's so creative? A lot of the watches aren't, high horology or strong horology or whatever horology, and it doesn't matter because they're fun watches, they're interesting watches, and I think, but maybe we had to have something called interesting horology, and because of that, it's a way without going to the poorhouse that you can really find things that you can't find otherwise. So, anyway, but what would I recommend? What I would recommend? I would recommend something like a True Second by Zaza Lacouture. The reason for that is that it has something interesting in it. It has the little remontoire for the jumping seconds. That would be one watch. Another one might be one of the, Poljot, I think is it. It's a Russian brand, and they make alarm watches. I think an alarm watch would add to this. It would fit in with the innovations or the different kinds of things that Abdul has been able to find. And it's like I said, this is just a cool, very cool collection. Well, as always, I'd like to hear what you have to say. Any comments or suggestions that you have, and what you think of the collection. And until next time, this is Bill Sanders for Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection.